IndyCar sucks compared to F1, here's why. But to find out why, we first need to compare the two. So, Formula 1 and IndyCar are both considered to be premier single-seater series, with huge fan bases across the world and drivers clamoring to compete within them. However, the two series operate quite differently. While F1 has always been at the cutting edge of technological excellence with an emphasis on design and development, IndyCar has prioritized a level playing field with a smaller budget. To racing fans in Europe, IndyCar can seem complicated, and to American audiences, F1's reliance on money and technology can be just as confusing. However, you can understand the richness of the top-tier single-seat racing by looking at key differences and how each series is better than the other. The main difference between F1 and IndyCar is that F1 only competes on highways, while IndyCar competes on roads and ovals. This means that the two cars must be built differently, but both need to maximize acceleration and cornering speed. But the IndyCar needs to be able to manage a consistent top speed on an oval track. Now, does F1 or IndyCar have a top speed? Now, the top speed of an IndyCar is around 380 kilometers an hour with the 2.2-liter twin-turbo V6 engine, and the F1 car reaches about 320 kilometers an hour with the 1.6-liter turbo V6 hybrid engine. Perez clocked 223 miles per hour at Monza and Mexico City. Now, F1's low top speed can be explained by the prioritization of downforce and cornering speed in the rules. However, IndyCar's higher straight line speed does not directly equate to the car being faster overall. F1 cars are designed to reach higher speeds and spend much less time cornering. In 2019, IndyCar competed for the first time at the Circuit of the Americas. Will Power made pole with a lap time of 1 minute and 46 seconds and an average speed of 185 kilometers an hour. Almost 9 months later at the same track, Valtteri Bottas was 14 seconds faster with a time of 1 minute and 32 seconds with an average speed of 213 kilometers per hour. Because of these different approaches to motorsport, analysis of series speed is not as important. IndyCar is focused on creating a level playing field where all teams can use the same Dallara chassis and choose between the Honda and Chevrolet engines. By comparison, F1 currently has 4 engine manufacturers, each producing their own parts. As such, the competitiveness of the cars varies from the front to the back of the grid, and budgets rise in the battles for points. Now, what are the differences in horsepower of IndyCars and F1 cars? An IndyCar can produce between 550 and 700 horsepower thanks to the turbo boost. In 2019, Renault announced that they had reached 1000 horsepower by combining an internal combustion engine with a hybrid system. This means that Ferrari and Mercedes have also reached this magic number. So, what assistants are available in F1 and IndyCar? Since 2011, F1 has used DRS to encourage overtaking and negate the aerodynamic disadvantage of driving close behind other cars. IndyCar, on the other hand, introduced an overtaking system in 2009 to increase the number of overtakes. Controlled by buttons on the steering wheel, the driver can temporarily increase engine power to gain an additional 40 horsepower. In 2017, the rules were changed to give each driver 200 seconds of extra power instead of an allotted number of laps during the race, allowing drivers not to waste extra time on failed overtaking maneuvers and use it on a later opportunity. How do F1 and IndyCar ratings compare? IndyCar, essentially a national series, has far lower television ratings than global F1. IndyCar averaged around 5.5 million viewers per race across all NBC affiliate channels, which is the series' official broadcaster. By comparison, F1's average worldwide attendance last year was 91.5 million, the highest annual attendance since 2012. However, audiences for both series were up 9% on 2018 figures. Now, what are the key differences between IndyCar and F1 qualifying formats? Qualifying for any F1 race is divided into 3 sections: Q1, Q2, and Q3. All drivers compete in session 1 of 18 minutes, after which the 5 slowest times freeze. The remaining 15 will compete for one of the fastest 10 times to advance to the first quarter. In the final qualifying session, drivers battle for the fastest time to get as close as possible to the first grid for Sunday's race. IndyCar qualifying varies primarily by event type. For oval races, drivers start one at a time, and the average of the 2 set times is the qualifying time. Qualifying for the Indy 500 will take place over 3 days, with everyone doing an average of 4 laps on the first day. The front 9 repeats the process on the quick 9, and whoever scores 30 under par in the final round determines the final grid. For road and street courses, drivers compete in groups, with the results determined by the best lap. The field is split in two for the first segment, with the fastest 6 drivers from each advancing to the next qualifying segment, with the remainder finishing 13th or lower. The fastest 12 are then given 10 minutes to set a lap. The fastest 6 drivers advance to the fast 6, and the remaining drivers move from 12th to the 7th on the grid. The bottom 6 will set the fastest lap for 6 minutes and take pole position. Now, what are the differences between IndyCar and F1 racing formats? For F1, the race ends after driving 189.5 miles. This usually lasts around 1 hour and 30 minutes, but there's a 2-hour limit for each race in the case of bad weather or long safety car periods. In the case of IndyCar, it's a bit more complicated. Oval races has no time limit, and all races are run over distance, while road and track circuits usually have a 2-hour time limit if the race distance cannot be reached. The rules contain provisions that allow IndyCar to hold races. Change the time limit as you see fit. Most of the time though, it takes about 1 hour and 45 minutes to run non-stop. One of the biggest differences in F1 and IndyCar is the layout of the race. The only time IndyCar leaves the US is when they cross the border over to Toronto, while F1 on the other hand travels across Asia, Europe and the Americas, and heads to Australia from mid-March to late November, early December to Abu Dhabi. Thus, F1 has the longest season, both in number of races and in monthly duration. IndyCar continues to fuel a race that has been banned from F1 since 2010. Now, while F1 mechanics change a car tire in 2.5 seconds, an IndyCar pit crew changes the tires and puts about 84 gallons of fuel in the tank. Now, what is the difference between F1 and the IndyCar point system? In F1, points are awarded to the top 10 drivers, with the top 3 drivers receiving 25 points, 18 points and 15 points, and the 10th place driver receiving 1 point. On the other hand, IndyCar is much more lenient in awarding points, with winners receiving 50 points and second and third place receiving 40 and 35 points. Drivers finishing in the field and finishers 25th or lower last from 5 to 33. Each gives points. Points are doubled for the Indy 500 and the Laguna Seca season final, and the 1st through the 9th will earn points of qualifying for Indy 500. This was all for today's video comparing F1 to IndyCar. Thank you for watching.